friends, I have another recent Dior purchase for you, and this is off the coattails of my previous purchase that I made in store at the Dior boutique in Soho, NYC, and I was curating an online basket for a few days and finally settled on these items. And what prompted me to actually make this purchase was because OUD from the Forever Blush Soft Filter line finally became available. So I grabbed it quickly because I'm like, it's gonna sell out, which it didn't. It's still available if you want it. I also have two shades that I bought in store, Orchid and Peony, but OUD was the one I had my eye on, as well as the new Rouge Stage is called. Let me grab it. Hold on. The Rouge Dior On Stage lipsticks. These are the new longwear lipsticks that have been added to the collection, and it says here, well, yesterday was members only. So if you are a member of dior.com, you would have been eligible for early purchase, but now I think it's available for all. They also plopped on the limited edition Miss Dior palette, the one with the lilac, and you have all the limited edition items from the Miss Dior collection. The most standout edition definitely has to be the Forever Blush Soft Filter. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at the other products that I purchased because I had to get, I know I'm such a sucker, I had to get the black colorway for the Miss Dior limited edition lipstick case, which I have here. The pink one is nice, but I just love the white on black. And now you have, well, I have both now in the wild beige. And fun fact, if you actually wanted to purchase the bundle, which is available on site, you could pick your limited edition case and the Attic lipstick you want in the case, because these individually are sold for $48. But if you buy the bundle, then you can just add this on for $38, and this is how it comes. Whereas if you just wanted to get the Dior Attic lipstick as is, this is how it will arrive. You have, of course, the lipstick with the standard Dior case, but again, if you just wanted the limited edition case with just the lipstick, you could get the bundle. But of course, the bundle will be more expensive than the individual lipstick component as it comes. So that's just for you to decide. But because of my in-store purchase that I bought the Miss Dior palette, I bought two of the soft filters, I went a little crazy, that plopped me right into a silver tier buyer, and that made me eligible for the gift with purchase, actually too. This brush case that arrived with 3 brushes, and I have the other one here. It was the blush brush, the eyeshadow brush, and the foundation brush. So if you are silver tier, the next gift with purchase will grant you this brush holder with the 3 and this little keychain lipstick case that also has the same zip around design. Now at first glance, this is exciting, or was exciting, because it's like, oh, that's so pretty. But when you really think about it, this is quite impractical because it's all white, it's fabric, and the fact that it holds makeup brushes, just the implications are crazy. I mean, this is going to get so filthy quickly, and you'll see the makeup easily for obvious reasons, because especially with this foundation brush that I use, and I'll share my thoughts on it later in the video, you're gonna get makeup on this quickly, and quite difficult to clean because of how it's designed to get in the crevices. And this material is not clean friendly like the plastic in my Hakuhoro brush book that I adore and I use for travel. So I might use this for my pens. I think it's still too big to travel with. It'll take up a lot of space in my backpack and could also present the risk of it getting dirty in that way. So I don't know how I'll use this, but I guess it was nice to receive as a free gift. And this little lipstick case, cute as well, but will not be using it to hold my lipstick because I'm not gonna, well, this doesn't even fit the Addict. Does it fit this? This is the lipstick that actually arrived as a free gift in the shade Rouge Dior 720, the Rouge Dior formula, the satin. So the Addict doesn't fit, but I think the regular size lipstick does. I will not be zipping in and out of this throughout the day to reapply my lipstick. That is hugely impractical, but it's cute. Maybe I'll figure out a use for this. I don't know yet. Bobby pins, maybe? I use those all the time. So let's start with the blush. I know you're dying to see the swatch, and if it's your first time here, hi. This is the newly released Forever Blush Soft Filter from Dior. This is their liquid blush formula. Highly anticipated because we absolutely, or I'll speak for myself, I absolutely adore their Forever Glow, which is more of like a highlighter, well, depends on the shade, highlighter blush light format. And for the soft filter, the whipped liquid blush provides a blurring matte finish. It comes in 10 shades. It retails for $49. And Violet is still on the waiting list, for heaven's sake. That was the other shade that I had my eye on. But I had to get OUD, and for some reason, I was not able to find the suggested shelf life on the bottle or on the box, so I don't know. But we have 11 millimeters, 0.37 ounces, and this is made in France. Look at this color. Doesn't it immediately remind you of Sochi's Copper Spice in the blurring pillow blush formula? But here you go. Are you ready? Look at that. And you're like, oh my gosh, the texture. Listen, once you start to blend this out, you will immediately see how beautiful the color is. Okay? Say it with me now. Terracotta. That's what I'm classifying it as. This is right up my alley. It's red, but it's toasty and earthy. It has just beautiful body to the color. When I applied this yesterday, I almost lost my mind and could not wait to share this shade with you here on video. And just for funsies, I'll swatch Orchid right next to it. Orchid is more of like a peach, but these together, wouldn't that create just the most beautiful gradient, having Orchid more on the center of the face and then OUD carry color upwards? Oh my god. Okay, we have that on standby. Peony will also pair nicely. It'll probably look a little more pink. Here, let's take a look. Peony, definitely more pink, not super cool toned. Yeah, I would pair Orchid with OUD better. This will probably look lovely with Violet. And for those who are fragrance averse, these do have fragrance. I wouldn't recommend that you buy these if you are particularly sensitive to strong smells in cosmetics. I tolerate it because I'm a simp and I love this formula and I adore the colors. That is my personal choice, but just want to put it out there if that is important to you. We got to look at these lipsticks because I try to hold off and show you a fresh bullet for the close-up. So I did buy two. The Rouge Dior On Stage Ultra Long Wear Lipstick in a shine finish. You have a slim component, but you have this iconic design that I think takes on a certain pocketbook design. I apologize. I'm not well versed in the luxury space, but I am a fan from afar. Just a few details here. Rouge Dior On Stage is an ultra long wearing lipstick with a shine finish that shapes and smooths lips while hydrating them for 24 hours. That's a long time. Its soft melting texture provides intense comfort as well as color true shades that last. Total of 10 shades. We're looking at a glossy shine with intense color delivery, ultra long wear. The skincare component, apparently this has peony extract that helps hydrate and provide a plumping effect. 0.2 grams and also made in France. I wish these were refillable because they remind me of the Suku velvet finish where you could just take this out, but unfortunately that is not the case. If you wanted to buy multiple shades, you would just have to buy the entire lipstick. I was toggling between 168 Copper Attraction and Confident Nude number 222. I went with Copper Attraction because just based off the photos, that like muted pumpkin terracotta shade I had to get, and this is Copper Attraction here. So my apologies, I did wear this lipstick yesterday. I couldn't help it. I had to see it in action. I love the bullet. It's like a teardrop shape, which makes it ultra easy to maneuver around the lips. And here is the swatch. I know. It might appear a little pinkish on the swatch, but on, oh my gosh, it is just gorgeous. And the second one I purchased had to be 565 Fearless Brown. I had to get it. Are you kidding me? And this is a fresh bullet. So I held back. I wanted to apply Fearless Brown yesterday like you don't even know, because when I saw Oud on the cheeks and just envisioned it with Fearless Brown, oh my gosh. But here we have, oh my goodness, that is absolutely beautiful. And you see the shine, great color payoff, and the feel is quite nice. I'll describe the feel when we get to those on lip swatches. And you did see this refill for the Dior Addict. I am addicted to the Dior Addict Hydrating Shine lipstick formula. I was first introduced to it when I purchased the Miss Dior Cat with Bold Black in $7.90. I had not tried the Addict formula before then and was just enamored immediately by its silky delivery and its just right color. Actually, they vary because I bought Star as well, which is just out of this world. Strong color delivery, whereas Bold Black is more of like that wash of color that you can build. But what I adore about the formula is, yes, it feels like I'm applying a treatment on my lips, but I get that shine finish with beautiful color that can be built to my preference. And the Addict formula has quickly made its way to one of my most favorite lipstick hybrid formulas that I now have in my collection. And when trying to decide which shade I wanted next, I had my eye on Dior Cannage. Number, let's see here, do we have the number? They didn't put the number on the cap. How dare they? Oh, we have it on the bullet. It's all good. 716 Dior Cannage. Now, initially, online, I had this in my basket, but was trying to decide between several colors, and I saw that it was kind of mauve on the model's lips, but then I swatched it in store when I visited a Sephora, and I said, oh, that has to come home with me. I waited because I wanted to grab the Miss Dior lipstick case in black, but look at Dior Cannage, right? Shows up a lot warmer on me in person than it does online. So if you had your eye on Cannage, might want to consider. I didn't grab Shocking Pink in the eyeshadow quad because I'm quite happy with Wild Beige and Bold Black. I was just riding the waves of enthusiasm when I tried these quins and everything else I purchased, and just decided to grab the new lipsticks and Oud, which I had my eye on. So that means since we saw these swatches and covered the details, it's time for you to come in a little closer. For reference, I do have the Suku foundation on, specifically the foundation in 040 with the Gucci concealer in 38N medium, lightly powdered with the Dior Forever nude matte filter in 02 light just under the eyes, and the Victoria Beckham Beauty Baby Blade pencil in light brown. I know you want to see this Oud, so let's do it. And I have my Sonia G mini buffer on standby, which is my go-to tool for these types of whipped textures that you saw initially on the swatch, where I think the stipple design moves the product well across the cheeks, and a little goes a long way. I'm doing mid-cheek just so that the color has somewhere to go, and I want to demonstrate how far it in fact goes just with that small dot of color, and why I applied it mid-cheek so that I have room up through the temples and now down across the entire apple of cheek area. Please just in the comments, okay? I know you're dying. Do you see the impact of color, the ease of application? First of all, Mini Buffer is an exceptional tool. I mean, it whipped the whipped blush into shape. But this is what I love about this color and the texture specifically. It is my ideal toasty, earthy red. That's not too literal of a red, that it has that structuring element to it, which I think adds beautiful coloring to my complexion. And the texture itself is soft and easy to blend on the skin. And what's left behind is a lovely soft matte finish that doesn't appear dry or textured either. And granted, it really depends on what you choose to apply this blush on. I have a satin finish foundation on, so it will influence the finish of the blush, where it might not look as matte as if you would have applied it on the Dior Forever Skin Perfect foundation stick, which is lot more matte than the Suku. This will actually maybe appear more matte on the Prada Reveal foundation that's a little more soft matte. So those are considerations to make on your part, how you want this blush to appear upon blending, but you can go wrong with OUD, especially if you're my complexion, okay, and you love the bronzers, the terracotta, like these toasty shades. OUD is for you. And out of the 10, if you just had to pick one, and I know it's hard because I already have 3 and I have my eye on violet as well. If I were to suggest the one and done shade, you have to get Orchid. 07 is like my default everyday shade that I can apply with a brow, a glossy lip, even some mascara, and just call it a day. And my face is put together and beautiful. But I want a little punch of color, a little bit of that sophistication. You gotta get OUD. You gotta get OUD. But see how well it behaves? You just need a tiny bit, and I think it's pretty easy to blend out. You just have to be strategic with where you placed it initially. You might not want to dot it center of face. You can. That's definitely a look. But if you want to take the color higher, then you have to start higher on the application. So that's just for you to know. Before we head over to the other cheek, I just wanted to quickly swatch Copper Spice, because if you're wondering if Copper Spice, it appears that OUD might have a little more, isn't that interesting? As a little more brown in there, like it appears more muted. Like there is a little more of that terracotta in there. So I classify that as like the orange influence for sure from Copper Spice. And you see that OUD definitely has more of like, I guess you could say mahogany. Oh, it is just... Now, if you don't feel comfortable applying this straight on the cheeks, then I would apply this back of hand on a separate palette so that you have a little bit of control. You've already prepped the product so that it's well distributed on the brush, and then you go in on the face. For sure, you could take on that application technique. But look, a little goes a long way, man. Wiping the brush on towel so I can just release a little bit of that product and get going on the application. It is just my heavens. And if you want to see Orchid in action, Orchid, I will place center of face to create a little more dimension, especially if you want some coloring on the center of the face. If you dig like that over the nose sun-kissed effect, then Orchid will deliver that color, but not with the same intensity as OUD does. But I think it makes for a lovely gradient going from that soft peachy hue into that toastier red hue. One and done. Okay, now let's get into the Rouge Dior on stage. I know you want to see copper attraction. Allow me, please. It's pretty. You can see the shine delivery off the bat. Now, a few observations I made yesterday when I applied this lipstick, just in regards to the long wearing claims, I think that mostly describes the color, because the shine wears off quite quickly, in my opinion. When I wore it yesterday, it was shining on the application, but under an hour, the shine died down a bit, but the color was left behind. So yes, I think the long wear trait is in regard to the actual color, more so than the glossy finish. But it is creamy on the application, insanely easy to apply, I think largely due to the bullet design, how it's small, and I think that makes it easy to maneuver around the lips to stay within the lines if you don't want to use a dedicated lip liner. It almost reminds me of like a looser, slightly looser version of Pat Satin lipstick, like the one she released years ago that was rather tight and creamy on the lips, almost too much, where it accentuated texture. This is not quite at that level, but there is more of a grip for sure in comparison to the Dior Addict formula. The Dior Addict formula is more of like a slippy lip treatment with beautiful shining color. This is definitely a lot creamier, more color payoff than the Dior Addict, more color than the Suku Moisture Glaze. But the Suku Moisture Glaze is not meant to be a longwear product, although I think that might be one of the characteristics that are marketed that is not just going to disappear even though it's like a glaze type of a finish. This definitely has a lot more color. But what I like about Copper Attraction is that muted pumpkin look. I think it just brightens my skin tone and pairs beautifully with Oud. Even if I just wore Orchid, I think it would be a lovely pair as well. But I think this is a unique color in my opinion because it's terracotta, but it's not super bright. So it doesn't look off in my opinion. I think one of these shades that I can wear on its own or the light blush application and everything just falls together. Now, are you ready for Fearless Brown? Because I'm not. And on the removal, you can definitely feel if you're not using a dedicated remover, I'm just using a tissue to wipe, you gotta apply a little bit of pressure to get it off. So I detect that those long wear characteristics for sure. Ooh, Fearless Brown. I also have my eye on, let me roll over here to get the shade, Berry Attitude, $4.96. I'm not ready. This is the fall lip. Autumn has arrived on my lip. What a beautiful color. Oh, I didn't say anything about the taste. Not strong smelling. In my opinion, Prada Beauty and Hermes have one of those stronger smelling, well, not the hyper matte, more the lip balm are stronger smelling. But this has a little bit of like a floral taste, just a touch. It doesn't bother me, but if you are particularly sensitive to fragrant anything, just want to put it out there. In my opinion, it's not too bad. It's tolerable. It's tolerable. Creamy. The color delivery is insane. My gosh. And you can see that Fearless Brown is definitely a deep red brown. It's not going to be neutral or cool leaning like Ray from Lisa Eldridge or even some red brown shades from the Suku Moisture Glaze lineup. I actually thought of Addiction Tokyo's, what is the name? The Lipstick Extreme Shine in, Not a Girl, 017. This is described to be like more of a neutral brown, but you can see that's more glazy, and Fearless Brown has a lot more color. I also have my Broken Ceramide Lip Silk in Rewind from Sochi Beauty. This has a little more coloring, but you can see Fearless Brown a lot more, but within the same vein as like a reddish brown type of a color. In the Suku Moisture Glaze 09, I'm gonna plop it right here. This is described to be as a dark brown, so you can see it's more of like a warm dark brown versus a red brown found in Fearless Brown. Brown. But there is a red brown, and I labeled it. Let me see if I can find it. Brown red, excuse me. In number 10, brown red might be, yeah, it's a close match, except brown red from the Suku Moisture Glaze, there's definitely a little more red than there is brown in Fearless Brown. So they are similar, but you're not going to have the same color payoff that you see in the Rouge on Stage. But I do feel confident in wearing this type of a shade because I feel the long wear stay, meaning it's not going to travel. It's secure on the lip, and I like that texture a lot. It makes me feel comfortable in wearing a shade like this, knowing that it's not going to feather as easily like a more slippy formula, like in the Moisture Glaze or even the Addiction Tokyo, although those don't feather much. They're a fantastic formula, but if you wanted more of a heavier color delivery, the Dior on Stage is pretty. Okay, and now I need Berry Attitude. Berry Attitude with the violet soft filter blush is too much. Last demo, Dior Cannage. We're shifting gears here in regards to the formula, right? So the Dior Addict is not going to be the same color delivery experience as what you just saw in the Rouge on Stage. Rouge Dior on Stage. So many words. But I love how this applied. It's so silky and smooth. Dior Cannage does not look like this online. Okay, if you're my skin twin and you, like me, saw Dior Cannage on the photo and you're like, it's pretty but not kind of my thing, and then this looks so much more mauve-y on the website. I'm so upset. The Dior Addict lipstick is incredible. Oh my gosh, this is it. Wow. Wow. I gotta get D-Dream too. Hold on. I have D-Dream on standby. Should I? Let me just create a new area on my arm because I must see these lipstick comparisons. Let's set the stage with Dior Cannage first. I'll start the swatches first with the shade. And I love the Miss Dior case. I don't care. I am a simp. I know it's like whatever. It's pretty. Okay, now we have D-Dream 871. The numbers are on the actual bullet, but it's quite small. So here's D-Dream that appears to be more interesting compared to Dior Cannage, more of like a muted rose brown. I'm not entirely sure when I'll post this short, but I filmed myself applying Star 730. Star is a beautiful like rose berry. Ooh, look at this. It is absolutely gorgeous and a beautiful shade to wear by itself, one and done. So it just picks my complexion right up. And I don't need to do much. It just has to be on the lip and we're good to go. And 790 Bold Black, which actually doesn't have the same level of pigment as the others. You see how it's a little more translucent, but it's still within the Dior Addict family. So these shades have a lot more color delivery, whereas Bold Black, you definitely can build up the color intensity, right? But you can see there's a little more translucency there in that shade. But Dior Cannage, if you took out Dior Cannage, you might want to put it back in the basket because it is, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, quick notes about these brushes. If you were wondering, they're okay. And this is coming from someone who has a lot of Oude and they hold a high caliber status in my brush collection. But a few descriptions. The number 11 foundation brush is fine. It's synthetic. It's quite thick where I feel it aggressive in the application. And when whipping it across my skin, it has like a stiff feel that's not super flexible. And I can see why someone would gravitate towards this type of brush because you can paint on your foundation and it might move it around in a way that works it into the skin. But I much rather use a slew of other brushes that, although synthetic, feel softer than the number 11. And then we have the number 16 cheek brush, which kind of mimics my Maria Catala synthetic brushes that were kindly sent to me by the Maria Catala beauty team and Beautylish. Similar wedge shape, and this definitely feels synthetic. You could just see how glossy the bristles are to indicate that synthetic trait, and could be used also to apply the whipped blush, the soft filter blush, if you don't want to use something like the mini buffer, although why wouldn't you? But it could definitely whip that blush into shape. It moves it well. The head is small enough to maneuver in through the cheekbones and around the cheek area, but not a brush that I would use often because I just have other options that are better. And this little eyeshadow brush in 21, I think this might be a mixture of synthetic and natural. You actually have quite a flexible tip, but you can see, sorry that it's hard to do so because of the lighting. You have the body of the brush that will be great for pickup because it's quite dense, but then when you get to the tip of it, it has nice movement. So good for maneuvering shadow across the lid, but is actually quite stiff. So I would use this brush for harder to pick up textures like the one here in the Quint. These sparkly arcly shades where you could pick up, for instance, this copper, wiggle the brush side to side, and you get pretty nice pickup and can concentrate that application on the center of the lid, right? So that's totally up to you. But because it's a free gift, I can understand it's not going to be the best, the highest of the high that Dior has to offer. But it's nice to receive. I think it's fine. And if I was in the situation that I found myself in this past weekend where I forgot all of my brushes, I babysit a little Westie, and it was one of those things where it just slipped my mind. I forgot to pack them in the bag, and I had to use my fingers to apply my makeup. So if you want to see that video, you could hop over and have a few laughs. But if I had these brushes, I would absolutely use them, right? I will be no position to be picky, and these are multitasking enough where I can make it happen with these three brushes and my fingers. Would they be my first choice, however, if I had all options at my disposal? Absolutely not. But they're fine. They were a free gift that came in this beautiful case that I feel like I can't use because it's not going to look as pristine as I would like it to if I use it at all. It's going to be put on display, for heaven's sake. So those are the swatches, the close-ups, and the details for my recent Dior, I don't want to say haul, I guess purchase. I am thrilled with the Soft Filter blush. I love how it applies, the color. Oud has exceeded my expectations in a way that the NARS Multiple Stick in Sinful did not. Just based off the photos, I thought Sinful was going to be a heartier red. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about this guy here. This is Oud from Dior and this is Sinful. And fine. I work with it. I've used it. I think it's pretty, but I prefer these just heartier, toastier reds that just look earthy and I feel give the face beautiful structure and just, it has an element that you need like that. This Oud has this, and I was pleased beyond the heavens to see that when I applied it the first time yesterday. I'm just so happy with Oud, and I can't even imagine how beautiful Violet will be. Violet, I have to get Violet. Now, just based on how Oud looks, forget it. The Rouge Dior Onstage lipsticks I like. I do. I don't know if I like them more than the Dior Addict. The Dior Addict is just sublime to apply. If you haven't used this formula, it's like the silkiness of this texture is just incomprehensible and something you have to feel on your own. But the Dior On Stage is creamy. It feels nice on the lip. If you're more into long wear formulas that are not drying and not matte, then you might want to consider trying these shades. I think the Dior Addict shade range, I mean, it is quite large. I can't think from the top of my head. 20 shades in all, where the Dior On Stage has 10 so far. I would like to try Confident Nude. Ideally, I would like to swatch it in store to see what kind of nude they're doing. Are they doing like more of a neutral, more of like a warm nude? Because it's tough to tell from these photos just based off how the photos with the Dior, some of the Dior shade, the Addict shades appear. But I like the On Stage. I think it's pretty. And Copper Addiction, I'm happy I purchased because I think it's a unique shade and just nice to throw on, just to have something different as like an everyday shade that's not your typical warm neutral brown but has a little bit of that muted pumpkin in there. Is pretty. And Fearless Brown, whew, with the right outfit. Okay, definitely is giving 90s vibes for sure. I think a 90s vibe brown would be a little more cool neutral tone and wouldn't have as much red in there as the Fearless Brown shade does, but nevertheless it is absolutely gorgeous. And Dior Cannage and the Addict formula I am so happy I bought this shade. One that I can wear solo even with no blush on. It just has that element of daily friendly, they're just enough my lips but better lip color. There you go. Let me know, friends, if you picked up Oud or any of the Soft Filter blush colors, if you picked up the new Dior On Stage lipstick or anything from the recent releases. I mean, Dior has been killing it. My gosh, the fall releases have been crazy. I would love to know your thoughts down below, and if you made it this far, make sure you like this video by clicking that thumbs up. It helps me tremendously in letting the algorithm know that I'm worth watching, and will also recommend my videos to other beauty enthusiasts like yourself to watch. And consider subscribing because you'll never know when more luxe beauty buys will come, and you'll know when those uploads drop when you click the notification bell. Stay tuned for more. If it's your first time here, please peruse the channel. Maybe I'll see you in this video here. I'll definitely see you in the comments for this one. And on here again next time.